be for our brothers who stood up and gave their lives and sacrificed. Some veterans right now don't even have a home, and that's not good.
It's going to stop.
I hope so.
We are stuck. That's why.
So that's what we're here for. That's what we. That's what we do this for.
Yep. Right from the Unity, Peace, and Freedom, we went right to the veterans, and it's about changing the culture with music. We've got a lot of folks donating today. Very proud of all the people that support our troops. Yes. So you know what, Willie? It's time for a donor update. Come on.
Time.
Let's get a quick look at the donor update. Tony, let's see the sheet. All right, what do we got for us? We have Dave from San Diego with 25 bucks. Thank you so much, Dave, for your donation. Seriously, we really, really appreciate it. We have Anna from Murrieta with $50. Wow, thank you, Anna. This is really going to a great cause, so we really appreciate the donation. And lastly, on our update here, we have Dan from Fort Lauderdale, $250. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Dan. I know that the veterans are really going to appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything that you've done.
Thank you, everybody out there. You guys are really raising funds. This is exactly what we needed. Thanks for that update. And thank you, Willie.
Yeah, baby.
Okay, let's get back to the festival. Hey, it's Richie Honori from the multi-platinum group The Suite. We all can agree our vets need our help. If you got a couple bucks right here and right now, you can make that difference. We are the Veterans First Initiative. We're musicians bounded together. Go to vetsinneed.org. That's vetsinneed.org. Thank you so much. You can make that difference too.
And we're back. My name is Jesse Moore. I'm your host. Hanging here with my man Don Bynum on sax. How you doing, Don?
I am well. I'm doing fantastic. Ready for this. Let's go.
You ready for that?
Yes,
All
sir.
right, man. Tell me why you're here today.
Man, I am here to support the Veterans First Initiative and to try to help some of these veterans. You know, they gave to us, they sacrificed for us, and now it's time for us to give back to them.
All right, Don. So why don't you give us a little background on yourself?
Okay, so I am originally from Cincinnati, Ohio. Okay, moved out to Los Angeles in like 1982, 83. Okay, got hooked up and hired with the Commodores after a long time with Bootsy's Rubber Band. That was a blessing. And so I like to actually talk about my friend Sheldon Reynolds and how I actually got him into the group.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
So yeah, and you know, he moved on from us on to Earth, Wind, and Fire, but he started with us before or after playing with the group Sun in Cincinnati, which had their own record deal. So anyway, I was playing with the Commodores, and we had to get rid of the guitar player we had. And so they asked me about this guy, Sheldon, that had come out to visit me and shop his tapes and everything. I took him to the studio and introduced him to the rest of the Commodores, and he shopped his tapes and everything. And he said, you know, let me know if you guys need me or if you can use some of my music that I wrote or whatever. So we went back to Cincinnati. Manager pulled me aside a few weeks later and said, hey man, we gotta do away with the guitarist that we have for the time being. So what about this Sheldon guy? I said, he's a bad brother. He's a bad brother. And he said, well, is he as good as the other guy? I'm like, man, he's just as good and even better, you know? So he said, okay, well, based upon your word, what you said, and I told him, yeah, he sings too, and he plays and he writes, like a triple threat.
All right.
So we said, okay, well, tell you what, we're gonna hire Sheldon. Don't call him, don't tell him, we'll call him. Okay, we'll give him the news. We're gonna bring him out here and we're gonna give him a trial run. And we're going to make him your roommate, by the way. And he said, if he doesn't work out, We're going to fire him and you too.
Oh, both of you.
So I was kind of sweating bullets on that one, of course. Needless to say, it worked out very well, and Sheldon had a very successful career with us with the Commodores. Sure. Even after I was no longer a part of the group, he stayed in there a while longer, and then Maurice White and Philip called him, and next thing I know, he was, on to the next thing. He was on with Earth, Wind, and Fire.
All right. So tell me about any funny stories that you have playing with Bootsy. Now I know you played with Bootsy. So tell me about Bootsy. Party baby.
Right. That's the group that I worked with the longest. Every time I was no longer in the group, he would call me back. Hey, what you doing, Don? Hey, what you doing? You crazy mug? And he'd start bagging on me, give me all kind of names. I was one of the only ones that he couldn't give a name to. He gave a name to everybody else in the group. So anyway, many times we're up on that stage doing our thing, having a great time, playing in Germany, playing all over the planet. One particular time we were playing and I was standing next to him doing my thing. All of a sudden I felt boom. He had hit me with that gigantic space bass with those 5 inputs. That thing must have weighed about 500 pounds, just the bass alone. All right. He turned around to me, tried to do it quietly and simply in front of thousands of people. Hey, you all right, Don? You all right? You all right? I'm like, what do you think? Yeah, I was all right. I was a little bit dizzy, but we were able to get on with the rest of the show and rock the house every night.
So Don,
yes,
give us a little background on your interest with the veterans.
Okay, well, first of all, my biological father, Burley Bynum, who my mother divorced before I was 1.5 years old, so I really didn't know him well. But during the story she told me that he was a veteran. I believe he was in the Korean War. Okay, and so he came back with what we now know as PTSD. Okay, he would have episodes where he would get angry and this and that. She said he was a sweetheart until he started drinking. Once he started drinking, he started going back to the ways of the wild and everything. Sure. So she had some issues with that and with violence and alcoholism and things like that. But when he wasn't drinking, he was a good provider and all of that. So eventually she had to leave him. And I met him years ago, or years later, when I moved out here to LA. And one of my friends had the digital yellow pages. And I said, I'd like to really find my biological father. So he dug and dug and dug and finally found him in Huntsville or Hartselle, Alabama. So called him and his sister answered the phone. Hello. I was like, can I speak to, is there a Burley Bynum there? Yes, there's a Burley Bynum here. Let me speak to him. Okay, so she said, okay, Burley, somebody trying to talk to you. So called him to the phone. He comes to the phone. Hello. Yellow. I'm like, hey, how you doing? Is this Burley Bynum? Yeah, that's me. I said, well, did you know someone named, were you ever married before? He said, yeah, I married a little girl named Louise. I'm like, oh, okay. That was my mother. And I'm Don. Don! Oh, boy, where have you been? And the whole deal. And we kind of reconnected. Sure. And so as a result of that, we were able to communicate for about 3 or 4 years before he passed away. And, he didn't really get into what he experienced, but I could tell that, he was severely and permanently impacted, by the spoils of what he saw and what he witnessed out there. Sure. Yeah. So, I've, of course, encountered other veterans, and I make it a point every time I come across someone that is wearing that hat and they're proudly, I don't care what they're dealing with physically, I try to come over to them and, hey, sir, I appreciate your service. Oh, thank you, young man. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe that's the least thing we can do, for their major sacrifices. Some came back without limbs, without parts of limbs, and they came back traumatized with that PTSD and, sure, any sound or whatever. I really feel for them during like holidays like the 4th of July, where everybody slips over and finds their fireworks and everything. And I can only imagine what they're dealing with, trying to avoid hearing the explosions, you know, and having them kind of reflect back to, you know, what they actually went through. Yeah, so that gives me a special place in my heart for them. And then now living in Los Angeles for 40 plus years, I see so much homelessness out here, you know, and it just really breaks my heart. It tears me apart to see people out there walking up and down the off ramps and the on ramps with their hat on, you know, or their paraphernalia, and they have this sign, you know, I'm a veteran, you know, I'm homeless veteran, please, anything will help. And I'm like, how in the world did this happen? You know, you went over there and you sacrificed all of this, and your country really didn't have very much for you when you came back. So I'm not really understanding that, you know. So I would like to do whatever I can to try to help. And I believe that everybody else within the sound of my voice should be able to try to give back some kind of way. You know, they're going over to these foreign lands and fighting, keeping the fight over there, you know, so that it doesn't come over here.
Sure.
You know, just because we don't see it doesn't mean it's not happening. And they come back so traumatized, and many times, you know, they're maimed, and they're still trying to move forward with life. You know, maybe some have lost their families, you know, they've had all types of experiences, and they try to medicate that, you know, with some type of drugs or alcohol or whatever they're doing, you know. So that's another reason I have a special place in my heart for them. Okay. And every time I encounter someone that is just a bleeding heart and they're talking about, you know, please help, you know, I'm on my last leg, I need something, just anything, you know. So I feel compelled.
Don, what a powerful story. And speaking of the vets, do we have a donor update? Thank you. Wow. Oh, Catherine from Texas, $500. Robert from Ohio, $100. And Sean from Malibu, $250. We thank our donors. Thank you for supporting our vets. I understand it's time for a shout out. Let's go to our screen.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Burkhardt with The Suite. We love our veterans and we want to help as much as possible. My father and my uncles served, and keep up the good work all you can.
And I'm hanging with my man Don Bynum, former of the Commodores and Boosties Rubber Band. Don, what's up, man?
I'm great.
Thank you for coming and hanging out with us today. Now, I've heard people tell me that you play a sweet sax.
Well,
give us a little sample. Now they tell me about the Motown experience.
Oh wow, Motown 25th anniversary. That day I had a headache when I left that place because I met everyone I'd grown up listening to. Michael Jackson walked over to me with that gloved hand. Hi, I see you dressed up. Who are you playing with today? I'm like, oh, I'm playing with the Commodores. The Commodores? That's my favorite group. We used to do it together over in Europe. I know you guys are gonna get down. I know you are. You're gonna get down. Like he's still squeezing my hand and shaking it. I'm like, wow, thank you, Michael. But everybody knows you're gonna be the one to steal the show. You think so? I'm like, yeah, man, you're Michael Jackson. Yeah, huh? And sure enough, he went out there and surprised the whole planet with the moonwalk for the first time.
Oh, wow.
Changed the world. Met Marvin Gaye back there, Richard Pryor. Oh my God, Ashford and Simpson. That was my first time meeting Stevie Wonder and so many people. Oh my goodness. The Temptations were teasing Stevie while I was sitting there talking to him. And he had his arm around me, talking. Oh yeah, you play saxophone. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing you play and everything. When the Temptations came over and popped him in the head. Boy, you ain't nobody. I raised you. I helped raise you. He's like, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Met so many people that night. It was just overwhelming. Went out there, played drums that night on Brick House.
Okay.
Go back and look at the tape. Motown 25, yesterday, today, and forever. I'm the one guy that was in the red. Everybody else was in white. But I did my thing. Yeah, so that's the Motown 25th anniversary.
Wow, what a great experience. What a great story.
Yes, sir.
Don, what brings you here today?
You know, I just want to play a supportive role and show that if I can do something, you can do something. You know, so I believe each one can do their part, whatever they have. If they have some funding, if they have a word of encouragement that they can drop or something, just do something to have these wonderful veterans that fought for us feel included. Because I can imagine many are feeling excluded right now. If we look at these on ramps and off ramps of people out there with their fatigues on, you know, trying to show, hey, yeah, I'm legal, you know, I'm legit, you know. So what can you do for me? You know, since my country didn't really, you know, support me when I came back. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know the logistics of it. All I know is that they need help. They need help, and everybody can do something.
So Don,
Yes.
Any history of veterans in your family?
Yes, my biological father was a veteran. I believe he was either in the Korean War or World War II. And now that I think about it, I have a cousin that was in the Marines for a short period. And probably some other family members that I can't recall right now, but served valiantly.
Give us an idea about some of your music that you've done.
Well, I've released 3 CDs. You can go to Spotify or anywhere you get your music from and check out Don Bynum, DONNBYNUM, and you'll be able to find my music there. And I've played on several different people's music, several people's records, and I'm here. If you need me, call me.
That's great, Don. Thank you so much for joining us today. Keep up the great work, Don, and take us out with a little something.
My pleasure.
Hey, Don, the music was great, but I understand that you have a tape.
I do. I'm looking forward to checking it out and sharing it with you guys.
All right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We're going to hear that tape of Mr. Don Bynum, saxophonist Don Bynum from the Commodores and Bootsy.
Hey, it's Richie Honori from the multi-platinum group The Suite. We all can agree our vets need our help. If you got a couple bucks right here and right now, you can make that difference. We are the Veterans First Initiative. We're musicians bounded together. Go to vetsinneed.org. That's vetsinneed.org. Thank you so much. You can make that difference too. back, I want to introduce our next guest here. Her father was serving in the Korean War, and he was rescued by somebody that just got the Medal of Honor award. His name was Charlie Johnson this year. She has an amazing story to tell. And we can just look at this as an incredible view at what you guys do for us, what our service people do for us. Her name is Terry Dingy. Her father was just portrayed with Gary Sinise in 2016, and another actor. And I'm just so proud for her to be here as she gets ready to fly to Arlington for some great ceremonies. Can you tell us about what you're getting ready to do and your story of your father?
Yeah, my dad had worked tirelessly for 30 years to get Charlie Johnson the Medal of Honor. And when I was in my 30s, he had taken us to Charlie's grave for many years through my childhood. And we never really knew the whole story. And then one year, my daughter was asked to write the story for her school. And when he wrote it and sent it to her, and she turned it in, I couldn't believe the story that came out of my dad. It was like, I didn't even know who he was. It's an amazing story. So there was he was only 20 years old.
Yeah.
He was only in the service for about 3 weeks before they sent him to Outpost Harry, which was a hill that they had to take to win the war. There was over 3,300 Chinese it was 30-1. They outnumbered the Americans 30-1. So there was a big battle that night, and they were in the bunkers and they were getting just hammered. And my dad, somebody threw a grenade in. My dad tried to kick it out, and he lost the bottom of his foot. And Charlie Johnson was a friend that he knew from high school. And so he was the only one that wasn't injured. So he went into the bunker and he took care of everybody. He put his belt around my dad's leg, and he took him to safety. There's a big statue in Arlington High School. It's a beautiful statue of Charlie saving my dad, dragging him to safety. There's a war memorial in Arlington High School. It's a big deal back there in Poughkeepsie and Millbrook, New York, where Charlie's from. And so my dad decided, after this story was told, they actually told it also at my brother's middle school in Arlington, where it was on Memorial Day. And Charlie's family was in the audience, and we didn't know this. And so the kids are on stage telling my dad's story. And Charlie's brother gets up out of the audience, and he starts walking towards my dad, and he's crying. And he's like, "You just told the story of my brother Charlie." Well, that's the beginning of the legacy. It was a beautiful moment. There was a lot of press there, and the families got together. We started, making time for one another, and they started the Charlie Johnson Foundation. And it is memorialized at the high school, where children seniors get $1,000 scholarships every year for doing the right thing. So it was amazing. My dad died 9 years ago, unfortunately, and he never got to see Charlie get the Medal of Honor. And so Biden gave him this year, January 3rd. The family was able to receive the Medal of Honor for Charlie. It was a real big deal back east. And so I'm going back this week. There's going to be a dedication in Millbrook. There's going to be a parade. They're going to go to Charlie's gravesite and do another dedication. So my sister and I are flying back to, for my dad. And it's really a wonderful thing. It's been wonderful for the family to be able to see this through. And it's really changed how I feel about my dad, because growing up, my dad never told us the story. And he was really, really quiet about it. And then all of a sudden, when he started having a purpose where he wanted to get him the Medal of Honor, the purpose really changed who he was. He was very angry when we were younger. He had a lot of anger, and he had a lot of pain. My father went through many. In fact, he almost lost his leg. When they brought him to the hospital, they said they were going to cut his leg off, and he wouldn't let them. So he went through many operations. But he had a lifetime of pain. So to be able to, express his love and gratitude to the man who saved his life.
So it's all about purpose, and your father found his healing and his purpose.
Yes, he did. He absolutely did. It was wonderful. The whole family was healed by it, and so was Charlie. So, and to see his sister accept the award, the Medal of Honor from Joe Biden, it was so amazing. The whole family was thrilled. So it worked out great.
What an amazing story. So it's just, when I heard your story, and I think so many veterans out there really feel so moved by these stories. There's so many stories of our heroes.
Yeah.
So I'm just so grateful that you're able to come on with us today and tell your dad's story and Charlie Johnson's story.
Yeah.
And that they get the due. They're just in their early 20s. They were only there for how long when this
3 weeks.
They were there 3 weeks. So
yeah, it was crazy. And can you imagine a 20-year-old, having to go through that? These were all very young men, very brave young men. Amazing that they were able to, like Charlie was able to save people.
Yeah.
And he lost his life. My dad said, "I will have so many children. You don't have to worry about a thing, Charlie." He had 7 children of his own. So he said he'd make up for it, and he did. He made up for it. So.
Well, he's a lucky man to have such a wonderful daughter.
Oh, thank you.
And a wonderful family that you have.
Thank you.
And so we're very, very grateful to have you tell your story today, Terry.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming on today. And
I appreciate what you're doing for the vets. It's really important. It's close to my heart. The vets deserve everything. They deserve more than everything, So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you.
For the vets, any contribution, every contribution is appreciated. It's for the vets. Thank you.
Welcome back to the Veterans First Telethon. I'm Mark Hengel here in sunny Los Angeles, here with my next guest, Richie Honori. Richie, how are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
It's great to have you. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Richie, you are the founder of People for a New America, FANA. What is it like playing that role, not only as a musician, but also as a business person and leading the organization?
Well, it's a lot of responsibility. You have to have a real purpose in mind to pull off what I've been doing. So yeah, it's an exciting thing for me to do. I think that if you're an expanded person, you want to expand from your music and really make a difference in the world. These are the things some of us do.
That's right. That's right. So how long, speaking of the music, how long have you been playing drums, and when did you join up with the Suite?
Well, I've been playing many decades as a drummer, and so many from, the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I mean, it goes on and on. I've never stopped drumming, but basically I found Suite in 2007 when I played again, it was for a purpose. It was for Hurricane Katrina. And I was playing a tribute concert to raise money for Hurricane Katrina.
Wow. You never know where these things are going to lead. And that introduced you to me. So I'm thankful for that as well.
There you go. Yeah.
So speaking of those benefit concerts, we had one back in the fall, the Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival.
Yeah.
Such an amazing day, such an incredible day. What was it like having so many different hats, playing so many different roles as not only the host, but also as a performer in not one, but 2 different bands that day?
Well, it was actually quite challenging. I didn't plan on being the host. We were looking for somebody to really run that. But, bottom line is that when you're called upon to do something, you do it. And so it was like wearing a lot of different hats. And it was pretty intense, I got to say. But it's like climbing a mountain. When you have a plan to do something and the way that unfolded. So to play with Suite, and then to play with the Redbone guys, and to play with the Chambers brothers, and with everything, it was just really amazing. By the end of the day, I was all smiles.
Yeah, me as well. It was amazing watching you that day. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more music in just a minute.
My name's Richie Honori with the multi-platinum group The Suite. We all owe a debt to our veterans. It's time to give back. With the Veterans First Initiative, you can make that difference right here and right now. I want you right now to open up your wallets and go to vetsinneed.org, vetsinneed.org, and make that difference our vets deserve. Thank you.
So this whole program has been so amazing, but it's taken so many organizations to get this going, not only across the country, but across the entire continent. So what has it been like working with the FANA team and also those other organizations to get this going?
Well, it shows something of a higher power, divine intervention, because a lot of these things that have happened, it's just basically that's what happens when you have this kind of a cause. People come out of the woodwork, but it's done divinely. It's just amazing to all of a sudden, I meet this person, that, and that's exactly what happened with the Unity. When you're on total purpose, you pull in people and you manifest and what's ever needed for our society. So to come into a direction where we, the people, stay away from the political aspect, where we, the people, can come together. That was the whole point of Unity, Peace, and Freedom. And now with the veterans, the same thing. It's about bringing our message and bringing unity together with our vets that need help. Enough with the malarkey. Enough's enough. Let's get our vets in food, clothing, get them off the streets, and let's really pull for them because they need our help. And enough's enough. They go to bat for us. It's told with all these organizations. But I will tell you something. Americans with Disability Act was passed because many organizations came together as one united front. And with that united front, they were able to get that bill passed. A lot of people don't know that, but that's how it's done.
Wow.
It's done with that. Everybody can have this, and they're trying to raise money for that. That's why we want to put the spotlight on all the vets out there and their organizations, because we're all on the same page. We need to come together as a big community to be able to get something done instead of us just kind of diffused in this way and that way. And so it's that focus is what FANA, what Veterans First Initiative is very focused on, and we're not going to stop until we get what is due to our veterans.
That's right, and they really afford us to have that unity, peace, and freedom. And what better topic to come together on than helping out those veterans who really have given so much to our country, to let us play music, to let us enjoy, sit out here. And I just want to thank you for all the work that you put into it and making this thing possible.
Yeah, well, thank you for your great questions. And I appreciate how much you've done for us and our organization, Mark. You've done so much on the marketing level, so thank you back.
Thank you. All right. Well, that's been Richie Inori from the band Sweet. We'll be right back with more great celebrity interviews and more musical performances.
Shotgun Tom here. Head on down to Boo & Henry's, Scottsdale's very own Taste of Memphis. Our prime meats are smoked low and slow over hickory, oak, and applewoods. True Memphis style. Ribs, chicken, brisket, pork, and fresh catfish flown in just for you. Unbelievable. That's smoking cold, authentic barbecue in the desert. And we have a full bar to wash it down. Mighty good eating at Boo & Henry's Memphis Mid Barbecue. You better believe it, baby.
Now we're going to go for a quick donor update. Tony, you got that list for me? All right, let's see what we got now. Jose from Encinitas, $75. Thank you, Jose. Thank you so much. Paul from San Marcos, $200. Thank you, Paul. The veterans are really going to appreciate all the work that you put into this. Teresa from New York City, all right, $500. Wow, thank you so much to everybody who's donated. Keep up the really great work. All this money is going to a really great cause. Richie, thank you so much for taking the time to be interviewed. I know you're hosting, so we're going to see you again. But thank you so much for speaking a little bit about what it's like to be an artist.
You do a great job. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the host with the most. Now we'll be right back with more entertaining interviews and musical moments.
My name's Richie Inori.
multi-platinum group of Sweet. We all can agree to help our vets. Music changes the world. We're musicians bounded together, making a difference for our vets. With the Veterans First Initiative, you can make that difference too. Go to vetsinneed.org, vetsinneed.org. Thank you.
Welcome back to Los Angeles. As promised, here is some more live music. Right now, we have Jason M. Jones performing his new single, For the Heroes.
The sun takes down in the USA. The whispering wind blew us all away. I closed my eyes and I started to pray. Someone ran into the firelight, pulled us out in the nick of time. This is for the heroes you never see on TV. Everyday celebrity, this is for the heroes you never see on TV. Unsung heroes, sacrifice for you and me. Everyone was running for their lives. The first law of survival on their minds. 1 second before the blast, he ran into a fiery crash. 1 second you wait too long, and it could be your last. This is for the heroes you never see on TV. Unsung heroes, everyday celebrities. This is for the heroes you never see on TV. Unsung heroes, sacrifice for you and me. Back in the day, they say he would never back down. He would always stand his ground. Never afraid to fight, he could always slow down. American pride is in our blood. Send me the word, my message. Give me the word, why blessing. Send me the word, why message. Give me the word, why blessing. For the heroes, unsung heroes.
That was incredible. Thank you so much for taking the time to perform that for us here today.
Hey, it was an honor, Mark. Thank you. And shout out to Sirius XM and Rodney Bingenheimer on Channel 21 and Little Steven's Underground Garage.
Now tell us, where can people find you? Where can people stream your music?
You can find me on most digital outlets under Jason M. Jones. You can go to jasonmjones.org. It's my website. And you can look out for us and listen out for us. We've got another single that just dropped, and it's called The Morning After.
And what is that track about?
Well, that track is actually talking about a wild night and encouraging the contemplation of the word sobriety.
So a little different than the previous topic.
Exactly. It's country, funky rock, you know. It's like the party jam for the summer.
Cool, man. Well, tell us, are you performing anywhere soon? Do you have any shows on the slate?
We have some things in the works right now, but I can't really give you a date exactly for our next show because we have some things in the works. We're trying to get out there and promote these songs. Thank you, Mark, for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, we'll have to promote you on our socials and keep up with you there to find out.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Is there anything else you would like to say regarding promoting the veterans or any message that you have that you want to share before we go?
Yeah, I want to say that these are the real celebrities that are really putting themselves out on the line for us on a daily basis, and they don't care what color we are. They don't care what party we're affiliated with. They don't see anything like that. They don't care what country you're in. They're just there to help and to save lives. So I think supporting these veterans and these peacekeepers is the most honorable thing you can do. So I definitely urge everyone to step up for them like they step up for us.
Well said. Well, thank you again so much for your time. You can find Jason's music on Spotify, Apple, wherever you find music. Be sure to stream We Are the Heroes. Thank you so much. We'll be right back with another brand new musical guest.
When you walk through those doors at Boo and Henry's, it's like you're being transformed back into 1966 in Memphis, with the smells of barbecue and the sounds of blues music in the air. You want to taste the smoke of hickory, the smoke of apple, the smoke of oak. We got a full bar at Boo and Henry's. Happy hour every day 3 to 6. We got game day. We got specials, food and drinks. Come on down to Boo and Henry's. It is the best barbecue in all of Arizona.
Okay, now we're here for a big treat. I have Scarlett Rivera here. She came into public awareness through Bob Dylan through those incredible years in the 70s. She was major, and she still is, with an incredible solo career going full blast, being honored left and right. It's so great to introduce her. We're so happy to have her here for what an incredible Veterans Telethon. And she's very involved with Angel Force, which, Scarlett, I'm going to start out with Angel Force, and you talk about that, and then we'll get into some of the particulars with your incredible career.
Hi, Richie.
Hi.
I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
So I became a member of Angel Force in 2022 and became aware of Angel Force USA. The founder, president is Ann Dunsmore, and their mission is to entertain, engage, and educate on the subject of especially veteran suicide and all the statistics that are absolutely staggering. And one of the other founding members of the band actually came up with the word called suisilence, which kind of didn't exist until he came up with it.
So who was that?
Jim Cregan. He was the guitar player for Rod Stewart. And he was the one who recommended me to be a member of the band.
Oh, I see.
So, and since 2022, I've done many, many concerts at veteran shelters, hospitals, VA hospitals, California, to DC, Walter Reed, and fundraising efforts, awareness, panels with, Gold Star mothers and discussions with, ex, Air Force pilots, and, so we're really doing it.
Thank you. Thank you for your service, because you recognize that suicide actually gets swept under the carpet. I mean, it's really sad to see that. And on this telethon here today, we're really bringing this out. Is one of the focuses is about suicide. It has to be talked about. A lot of people don't really want to confront it.
Well, that's one of the issues, is that, they're taught to be tough.
Yeah.
But you don't talk about things that, it's almost considered a failure. Oh, you failed so bad that you offed yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, that some of the wake up calls came through officers who had very incredibly brave members of like SEAL teams they thought, of course, they will never do that. Well, guess what? Some of them have. And that was a wake up to that officer who suddenly went, if it can happen to him or her, it can happen to any of them.
So it involves drugs a lot of times that they're overprescribed. Do you guys cover that?
We are absolutely covering that.
Yes.
The psychotropic, certain side effects of the massive amount of drugs they give them for, anxiety, depression, that can actually trigger, an episode that would lead to.
Well, thanks for bringing that up, and that's so important. And I've got to say, with looking at the 60s, you were with Bob Dylan. When did you, and that was in the 70s, so to speak, but those are the days of cultural change. And the 60s and 70s, let's face it. So you're part of that whole movement. How do you compare that and moving into those days with what you're doing now in your activism and advocacy?
Well, I have carried that flame that we had then to this day, because I don't see it on the national level like we experienced then. I went to Washington, D.C. when I was in my 20s to actually protest the Vietnam War with 1 million people.
Right.
But that didn't mean I was against the vets that went there, whether they went as enlisted or drafted. They gave everything they had, and vets of all wars, and I honor, we honor vets of all wars. And I went home to my hometown a couple of years ago, and I noticed we were passing a VA hospital.
Yeah.
A place called Mantino. It's out in the basically cornfields.
Yes.
And I said, I wonder if they'd like a visit. And so we called and said, would you like a visit? And I went as a representative of Angel Force, and I did a little program of music by myself. I sang, I played, and I talked about, thanked them all and brought them, I think I brought 50 t-shirts. And, they really loved being remembered.
Yes. I find it so interesting that you were part of our Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival.
Yeah.
There you are playing, and then we're get together. Where did we met just recently? And then I told you about we're doing something for the veterans, and then you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm with Angel Force, and it was so freaking incredible. Yeah. So, I come from, why do we call it the Unity, Peace, and Freedom? It's nice to have our soldiers defending us, but we don't necessarily want them in war and what we're against with that. They're there to protect us, but let's bring peace on earth. Let's bring unity together. Yeah. And that's what we need. Enough of the divided and conquered and all that. So I really thank you for the contribution that you've done. So, now you're being honored. I just heard you had mentioned to me about could you explain Lincoln
Center?
Lincoln Center, okay.
Yeah, Lincoln Center is a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yeah, they got a hold of me directly, and it's I think the 5th annual event where they featured different subjects, different themes. But this year's theme in June is all of the top session side men/women.
Oh, wow.
So there are no men.
Yeah.
It's all the side women who have been the girl behind the big hits, and that didn't necessarily get their name on the front of the album.
And that's just 2 weeks from now.
It's a few weeks from now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is it?
June 22nd.
Oh boy, that's incredible. Now, going back to your days with Dylan, what years were they?
75, 76.
75, 76. And now you are part of this major film by a pretty famous director. You want to articulate in how you were in that film. Now, you recently told me you were in it as much as Bob Dylan. Is that correct?
pretty much. Yeah, and you go see it yourself. I mean, you take out your clock. But, it's the Martin Scorsese's, the director of the Rolling Thunder documentary. It's on Netflix, and the live footage is spectacular. And I didn't see the live footage till all 30 years later.
Wow. And what songs did you play on? And what, if you give me 2 or 3 songs, what were the hallmarks of that performance?
Hurricane. I'm pretty much known worldwide for being on Hurricane. And people to this day around the world, from Japan to India to South America, Colombia, want to hear Hurricane. And I'm on One More Cup of Coffee, Oh Sister, Mozambique. But I'm on the live 75 albums as well, and the Biograph and the Bootleg series, because I did some of the outtakes of Desire album.
Yeah.
That were not released until the Bootleg or Biograph series.
Now, I just recently heard you play on Knock Knock on Heaven's Door. Okay.
Yeah.
And that was incredible. Again, on that film.
Yeah, we played that every night. Matter of fact, that was our encore.
Wow.
We had Joni Mitchell and Roger McGuinn and Joan Baez, and everybody joined on the stage for that song.
Now, tell me about Joni Mitchell. Recently, you did something with Joni, right?
Well, a couple of years ago, Joni asked if I would be a part of her 75th birthday celebration. It was called Joni 75. And it was a pretty gala, all-star tribute to her, from James Taylor to Chaka Khan and some members of Crosby, Stills, Nash, and Graham Nash, of course, because he wrote Our House for them. And it was just an incredible thing to be part of. And we did the CD. It came out later as a CD and DVD. But I'm so happy that my relationship with Joni continued from that time.
That's fantastic. And now your solo career, a new album's getting ready to come out, and we want to track you. We want to promote you. In today's record business, you got to get out there every which way you can to promote it, right?
Yes, you do. Yeah. Well, I'm doing my next solo vocal album. It's going to be called Full Circle, and it's kind of biographical songs. It's kind of all about the story.
Yeah.
My very roller coaster career in life, and I co-wrote it with Jeff Silbar, who's a phenomenal writer. He wrote "Wind Beneath My Wings," which won a Grammy for Song of the Year and Album of the Year. But he's also written for Fleetwood Mac and Dolly Parton, John Cougar Mellencamp, the band, Lee Van Helm, many. So he's a joy to work with, and we came out with some wonderful songs I'm proud of, and he is too.
That's great. Well, a lot of luck with that. I know it's going to be incredible. So tell me how you I've heard the story, but how you got in with Bob Dylan and how you were picked out for that gig.
I was picked out, I think, by some heavenly angels who decided that we should have a meeting, and I think it was a sort of a divine appointment, because I was going to cross the street and vanish probably within 60 seconds when he pulled up and read on. And it happened to be my lucky number, 13th Street in the village. And I had my violin case over my shoulder, and he just spotted the case, and he's very intuitive. So his intuition said, stop that girl and strike up a conversation, which is also not typical of him, to stop people and talk to them. It's pretty, unapproachable. But he wanted to know if I could play, and then he wanted to hear, when can I hear you play? Got to hear you play. Got to hear you play. And so he was very insistent that I skip the rehearsal I was going to and go with him.
Okay, so when he heard you play, what was his reaction?
Well, I was with him for about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I played song after song, and he had zero expression, as in like deadpan. And I had no idea if he liked it or didn't like it. And then he goes, got to go see my friend of mine play. You want to come along? I said, oh, sure. And we went back in the car, went around the block to the bottom line, and the marquee said Muddy Waters and band. And I was very excited because I'm from Chicago, and that's one, great band I had never seen. I'd never seen Muddy Waters live. So he kind of dropped me at a table, the bar actually, and left. So I thought, well, that's probably it, and I will watch a great show with Muddy Waters. I got on stage with Muddy Waters a while later, and after one song, he went to the microphone and he looked dead at me, and the audience said, now I want to bring up my violinist. So he was telling me I was hired.
That's great.
And about 4 days later, he called and said, here's the address for Columbia Studios. Show up at 1 o'clock tomorrow.
Well, that's amazing with Angel Force, and we really want to spotlight Angel Force today and you and all the work you've done. We really appreciate you, and we're here for the vets.
Yes.
And we're excited. Scarlett, thank you for your service. Appreciate your art, what you do, and thanks so much for being here today.
You're welcome. Thank you, Richie.
Okay, it's phone time. Take your phones out. QR code. Let's do it. Donate now.
My name's Richie Honori with the multi-platinum group, The Suite. We all owe a debt to our veterans. It's time to give back. With the Veterans First Initiative, you can make that difference right here and right now. I want you right now to open up your wallets and go to vetsinneed.org, vetsinneed.org, and make that difference our vets deserve. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Don. What an incredible rock and blues. Thank you so much for that transitional pickup. I'm Mark Hengel here for the Veterans First Telethon in California. And right now, I'm joined by a piano player for Tierra, Mr. Tony Hernandez. Tony?
Hi, how are you, Mark?
It's great to have you today. Thank you so much for stopping in.
And thank you for having me. I really, really enjoyed and appreciate that.
Of course, of course. Well, it's great to have you today. Of course, you are the piano player for the band Tierra and now Tierra Legacy. So how did you get involved with Tierra?
Well, the Tierra Legacy goes back to both the father and the uncle of David Salas. It's Rudy Salas was his father, and Steve Salas was the uncle, and together they formed the group Tierra. And one of the major accomplishments they were able to do was to put the song together, a song created by the Intruders, and remake it. And it took them all the way to the biggest heights. And so now, at this point in time, David Salas has had the opportunity to recreate what his father and what his uncle had created back then. And so the legacy continues. That's why it's called Tierra Legacy.
Makes sense.
Right.
That is so interesting.
And by the way, the father and the uncle wound up making it all the way to Carnegie Hall with that song together. So it was a very interesting scenario.
Yeah, so impactful, and it's just amazing what they can accomplish.
Exactly.
Now, is there a particular moment that when you were playing with Tierra that you remember that really has just stuck with you all these years?
Oh, absolutely. There was this one iconic moment when we were playing at the Hop in the City of Industry, and we were approached by a team of folks who asked us if we wanted to play and collaborate with James Brown.
Wow.
So we said, hell yeah.
Of course. Who would turn that down?
Take me to the bridge and drop me off. So yes, we definitely engaged in that. And what it involved was learning some of his songs that he wanted to have a Latin flavor on some of his songs. So we wound up having a show that we did with the old Dennis Miller variety show, and these turned out really well. We were able to make that performance. That performance can still be accessed on YouTube today.
I'm going to check it out after this,
even though it's old. And then from there we went to the Arco Arena and did a concert there. Came back to the Monterey Jazz Fest, did one there, and then came all the way back down and wound up at the Greek Theater with him. Really incredible experience for me and for the rest of the folks that were playing at that time.
That really sounds incredible, and of course he's a legend.
Right.
Are there any musical legends that impact your piano playing or inspirations that you've always found to inspire you?
There's so many. We can talk about Herbie Hancock, Jeff Lorber, the different piano players that are close to my area who are the Latin jazz guys. I mean, most of these guys, I look at them and I say, I wish I could play like you. But they do inspire me to play whatever I can do, to the best of my ability with the various bands that I do play with.
It's really, for someone like me, incredible to hear you say, I wish I could play like you, because I know you're an incredible pianist yourself. I saw you that day at the Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival.
Oh, thank you so much.
So speaking of the Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival, we're going to play a clip of that right after a quick word from our sponsors.
Shotgun Tom here. Head on down to Boo and Henry's, Scottsdale's very own Taste of Memphis. Our prime meats are smoked low and slow over hickory, oak, and applewoods. True Memphis style. Ribs, chicken, brisket, pork, and fresh catfish flown in just for you. Unbelievable. That's smoking cold, authentic barbecue in the desert. And we have a full bar to wash it down. Mighty good eating at Boo and Henry's Memphis Mid Barbecue. You better believe it, baby.
And we're back. As promised, here's a clip from the Unity, Peace, and Freedom Festival of Tierra Legacy. Let's take a look at that clip.
On a desert, lost without a place to go. We are so in love with each other, that I really need to know. Oh, I don't care, any place, anywhere, just as long as we are there, together, baby, baby, just you and me. Oh, I think we'll be. We could be in poverty, no one tender helping hand, but it's all right, I know, because you're the way.
Wow, that was really a great clip.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it. Great crowd, great venue. We really did enjoy that.
Yeah, well, it was great to have you there playing with everybody.
Everybody was on their mark on that date.
Yeah, seriously. You guys really absolutely knocked it out of the
Thank
park.
you so much.
What brought you here to speak at the Veterans First Initiative Telethon?
Well, I am a Vietnam veteran in addition to being a musician. And I did have a tour of duty in Vietnam as a combat veteran. And it was a rough stint. It was, it was the year 1970, 71. And, I think one of the most important things that is important to me and all veterans is that there's so many organizations like your veterans group that actually come forward and provide assistance and help and support to the veterans. This is something that is greatly appreciated by all the veterans, and so that's one of the reasons I'm here to help that and promote that effort.
Well, thank you so much for your service on behalf of the Veterans First Initiative, on behalf of myself as well. It's really an honor to have you today.
Thank you.
So what kind of struggles have you seen veterans now face that really need our help and attention?
Well, I think one of the most important thing, actually a couple of important things, you always have to look at the homelessness situation with veterans. And there's also mental health issues, and also the issues with drug addiction and things of that nature. I think those are the most important things. I think whenever you have the opportunity to give veterans a helping hand so they can maneuver themselves away from these challenges and into a more productive situation where they become self-sufficient and they're able to function on their own, I think is always the best outcome that you can hope for.
And that's what all of the donations and everything, everyone that's donating today, that's the money, that's where the money's going. So,
and I know that veterans sincerely appreciate the Veterans First Initiative for those reasons.
I want to know what it was like from your perspective coming back. You mentioned that you served in Vietnam. What was it like coming back as a veteran back into society and getting used to the way of life here?
It was a difficult transition because it almost seemed like a time warp. When you're gone and you're basically in a combat situation, it is totally a different world. And you come back and time continues to move, and you come and you see everybody's changed with all this movement, and you're feeling like you're left behind and you got to catch up. For me, I think one of the positive things that happened for me was because I was a Vietnam veteran, I was given the opportunity for an open door for a federal program that allowed me to work for the County of Los Angeles. And I wound up at the Department of Coroner's Office back then. So, and I was just a clerk, Well, we didn't have any computers or anything like that. It was just the manual typewriter. I was doing payroll documents and payroll cards. But it opened the door for me where I was able to eventually take the appropriate tests and promote myself. It's just like kicking that door open, and then you do the rest of the work to get you to the various positions. And by the end of my stint with the coroner, I was the director of the coroner's office. And then we were all computerized and we had all kinds of stuff.
Wow, that's so impressive.
It was an amazing thing. But when you see that from the ground up, because like I say, when I got there, there was no computerization at all. Nothing. Manual typewriters, not even the electric ones. So it was very interesting. I knew everybody's name by heart because I had to type up their time cards
over and over every month.
Over and over every month, twice a month.
Did you ever have a moment during the time that you were serving to play music, or were there people playing music in the town?
Yes, they were.
The that you were
what happened is that in Vietnam, I was stationed on a fire base called Tuy. Tuy Hoa was interesting because if you were in Tuy Hoa directly and weren't sent out on a mission, your job was to run ambushes 6 nights a week in a perimeter surrounding the base. And so after the sixth night, you get 1 night off, whatever that is during the week, and you get to go to the base camp. They actually had a base camp, and they had what I call the most talented bands that were coming in. They were mostly Filipino because they were close to that area, but they were the most incredible singers, the most incredible players. Horns, they played everything from Santana to Chicago.
Wow.
They did all of that, and we were just like, in total awe.
Wow.
It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
It must have been incredible watching those guys.
Yeah, even if it was only 1 night per week, because sometimes you were out on a mission, and that could last 2 to 3 months, and you were just out in the jungle, just humping it. And so, but in the times that you were in base camp and only doing the ambushes, you got to come back home every morning, because you'd fly out in the choppers right around dusk, come back in the morning, and then on your day off to the PX.
Watch some bands play.
Yeah, absolutely.
It must have been incredible going from being there and watching those bands play that iconic music to being part of the group making that iconic.
Oh yeah, because I thought that the level of talent that these guys had that were coming into those base camps were much higher than what I ever had achieved. It was kind of an eye opener. I'm going like, the singing was just incredible. I mean, this guy would be singing, the low end of the Chicago stuff to the very high end of the Chicago stuff. I was like, wow.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
You've had such an incredible journey, really.
It was.
So where can we find, when is the next Tierra Legacy performance?
The Tierra Legacy performance, they have a calendar.
Okay.
And I can provide it for you guys so you can take a look at that.
Yeah.
So we just did a gig up in Fresno. It was a last minute, 2 weeks ago. It was a last minute one. And then this past weekend, I did a gig with Joe Baton. He's a famous boogaloo guy from New York. And on that one, we went up to San Francisco.
Yeah.
So, and then came back and did one with Ray Carrion Latin All Stars, the band that I've been playing with for like about 30 years.
Yeah, that's cool.
Here in City of Commerce in LA. And so that was a lot of fun too. So
yeah,
it's been busy.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be there that day and for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you.
It's really been an honor to interview you.
Thank you for having us there and having me here today.
Yes, thank you.
Really
Tony.
appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
My name's Richie Honori with the Multi-Platinum Group this week. We all owe a debt to our veterans. It's time to give back. With the Veterans First Initiative, you can make that difference right here and right now. I want you right now to open up your wallet and go to vetsinneed.org, vetsinneed.org, and make that difference our vets deserve. Thank you.
What a great show. I'm so glad you tuned in today. I hope you really enjoyed it. And thanks for all the donations. You guys have really blown me away. You guys have really participated and come to the table. So I want it from my heart. We are here for the vets. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Los Angeles, are you ready? I'm telling you, today here out of LA, we've got some exciting news for our veterans organizations, for people across the globe. What we're doing here is very unique, something that hasn't been done. The Veterans First Initiative, first annual telethon. So I'll tell you,
Texas. And let me tell you, he had a plan that went nowhere that he wanted to do. So, without further ado, the national commander for the BFW, Al, the real deal, Liphart. Commander, how are you?
I'm doing great, thanks. I appreciate the.
I can't hear you, Commander. I think you turned off your microphone. I think you turned off your microphone. So.
Well, it looks like it's on.
Recording stopped.
Looks like it's
I
on.
have you muted. So. Was this continued just fine after a few minutes ago?
I know, and it was.
All right, hold on. Let's see. Nope, you're good.
Yeah. My mic looks. It shows me that I'm on.
Nope. All right.
Still not on.
I would let's. Hey, this is live. This is always happening with technical difficulties. So let's go ahead and for you, Commander, go ahead and sign out and come right back in, and then we'll get it started. So there we go. All right. Hey, technical difficulties. This is what happens exactly when we are live. So hey, welcome to the Battle Rhythm Podcast. I have a Veterans First Initiative with People for a New America, and we are. Again, it's been a long day. Look, I didn't even turn on my sign. It's crazy. The Battle Rhythm Podcast. Here we are. We're doing some promos for the Veterans First Initiative Telethon that's going to start this week. This weekend, actually Saturday. Guess what? It's going to be super fun. It's going to be the whole stream is going to be happening with us here. And it's going to be super awesome. It's going to be around the area. So there's going to be four of these cities. There's going to be Phoenix, Toronto, Chicago, LA, and it's going to be a great time had by all. And let me tell you, it's going to be filled with many guests, many interviews, and also all kinds of entertainment. And it's going to be for a great cause. But we'll get through all of these, and I will tell you some of these. I'm going to probably keep this here as to who's going to be around this, during that telethon. But like I said, every city is going to have their own menu, and it's going to be super fun. So hang in there. It's going to be from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturday, June 7th. And I know my guest, like we had it here in a minute, he's going to be around. And let me tell you, again, Al, the real deal, Liphart, the VFW National Commander. Sir, can you hear me now?
I got you loud and clear.
Oh my gosh, what is going on today?
We
are having. I think it might be muted on your side.
No, you can't hear me again. Still nothing.
The joy. Yeah, I cannot hear you. I can see you moving, but we cannot hear you. And it's not on my side. Let me double check. Make sure that all of our stuff is going through because, again, this is live, my friends. This is live. This is what happens when you are trying to do a live show, and things happen. Things happen for a reason, So, again, like I was saying, June 7th is going to be the start of the telethon.